Welcome to Season 3, Episode 3, where we discuss more Am I the A-hole conundrums. Let's get into it. Dear listeners, just when you thought that it couldn't get any worse, it's about to get funnier. Sincerely, Tactless.
I'm Sasha. I'm a girl with a warm heart, and I'm already sick of your shit, so don't try me. But I still love you.
I'm Tony. I'm a frustrated musician who will tell you to your face, being a dog mom is not a thing.
Hi, I'm Lizzie. I'm the tiny lady marmalade that holds this turd sandwich together. Alrighty, well, guess who's back? The gang is all back together.
Back again.
Shady's back.
Sasha's back.
That's my intro music now.
That's right.
Intro music. So today we'll discuss some more pressing AITA issues, as usual.
All right, this is our first one. Am I the a-hole for getting annoyed at my girlfriend's mood? According to her, probably. But let's see. For context, I, 29-year-old male, and girlfriend who's 24, have been in a relationship for 2 years. They're long distance, but they're planning to move together within a few months. They've been together quite a few times, so it's not only online. Because they see each other every so often. They've known each other for about 7 years too. So I'm a guy with a sleeping disorder. That means I'm often very tired and feeling quite drained during the day. Maybe I have that too. Jeez. Even so, I work 40 hours a week plus 20 to 40 hours beside that on my own game. She's not working and has 1 to 2 classes of school every now and then. Currently has it pretty chill. Sounds like it. I come home, we usually call, talk, etc., play games. Though sometimes she's very silent, no smiles, no enthusiasm, no interest in a lot of things. I don't mind, but often ask her, listen, if you feel down or something, you can have some alone time. I don't know, do something, watch a movie or whatever. So here is my point. Am I the a-hole for feeling annoyed with her behavior / moods while I'm heavily sleep deprived and still keeping up a smile and trying to stay happy? She's not depressed or something. It's just how she is sometimes. Is this a boundary I need to respect? I'm doing my best to accept her certain introverted nature, but can't see past not smiling and not being interested in anything. I've talked to her about this multiple times. This is one of the first ones in a while that I've read where it just seems like the boyfriend is like legitimately concerned that he is doing something wrong, and it really doesn't seem like it, you know? Sometimes there's like a little bit of, yeah, you were poking the bear, but it doesn't seem like he just like really wants to improve as a partner in this relationship, which is kind of refreshing to read.
It sounds like he's genuinely trying to understand her, and because they've been long distance, that's probably more difficult. And to be honest, like, guys are a lot more even keel. Like girls like that, where they're just like, I'm not feeling it today. It just happens. Being aware of that, and everybody needs something different. So it sounds like he's trying to figure out what's going on. I don't think he's an a-hole. I think he just needs to figure out what strategy works with her in those instances, because sometimes those things just happen where you just get in a funk or whatever. Sometimes you need space, sometimes you need to watch a movie, or sometimes whatever. Like everybody has a different thing that they use to kind of cope with that. So
yeah, and it also seems like this might be a situation where he's maybe more emotionally mature or more emotionally aware than she is. So maybe she's not even realizing that something's going on and she needs some alone time, or something's going on and she needs something to help regulate whatever's happening, but he's picking up on it. Because there's not a huge age difference between them, but there's a little bit of an age difference there, 29 to 24. Some people they really grow up not knowing how to manage emotions well. You know, maybe she didn't have a good role model in that respect or something, because it really just kind of seems like maybe she's overloaded. You know, I'm totally that way. If I have too much interaction with people, sometimes it's like my gas tank is dry and that's it. Like I have nothing else to give. You know, if that happens, then yeah, you do need to take some time. But I think she needs maybe just a little bit of I don't know, a little bit of direction. And it sounds like he's kind of tried to give her some suggestions. Maybe that is the issue there, is that she just doesn't realize or doesn't know, you know, what to do to get back out of that funk or whatever is going on. And she needs to kind of, I guess, try a few different things and see. I don't think he's an a-hole at all. I really don't. I just think he's, you know, rightfully concerned and trying to help the relationship. Most men, to be honest, wouldn't pick up on this and be so so genuinely concerned and wanting to do something to help. You know, usually you're like, oh, you're just like being grumpy and I don't want to deal with it or whatever. A lot of people do that, men and women. He really does seem like he's put a lot of thought into this, which is commendable.
You guys made a good point. Like, this is a very reasonable letter writer, which is unusual.
Unusual for Reddit, for sure.
Yeah.
Usually it's like someone's looking for validation because they are an a-hole, but they don't want to be called an a-hole or whatever. But like this guy, just he's really like, hey guys, tell me if I'm doing something wrong. And having that sort of open mind to, maybe I'm doing something wrong I didn't realize, this guy's got to be a good boyfriend for sure. I just got to say that. That's incredibly mature, especially for a 29-year-old. I mean, there's people that are twice his age that aren't that self-aware.
One thing that does stand out to me is her age. This is kind of the age group where mental illness does tend to appear, but like that might not be something terrible to explore if she's not able to smile or not happy.
You know, that's a good point too. You know, it's not. I guess I should say, not that it's not, but it's more accepted now to go to a therapist or talk to someone if you realize that you're having some sort of issue, and it might be worth a shot for her to talk to somebody, provided that she's open to it. I know that's a really tough thing to bring up with somebody that you're in a relationship with, but it might be worth just saying, hey, you know, maybe talk to somebody about this and see if they can help you through it, give you some of those tools to work through it. Or if she does need a diag, then, you know, they tell her, hey, you know what, you have symptoms of whatever, and maybe she needs to be on medication or something else. It's hard to say, obviously, without knowing the whole situation, but you do raise a good point that it could be a mental health issue that maybe no one's brought up before. And if it continues, it could be really detrimental to their relationship. And there's so many resources now too for mental health, and it's not stigmatized like it used to be, which is really good. There's nothing wrong with going and talking to a therapist and trying to get some, you know, some extra knowledge and try to figure out what's going on and how to regulate emotion and do all that sort of stuff. So that might even be a good suggestion.
Another thing that's sticking out to me is the fact that they're planning to move together within a few months. I'm wondering too if she's having some apprehension around this, because even though they've been together for like 2 years, they're long distance. Like, that's scary too. So maybe, you know, hey, this stuff is getting real.
Sometimes when you have those big life changes, you can put pressure on yourself to make the right decision, whatever that may be for you. And sometimes that can cause you stress. And I don't know why she's only taken a few classes and not working. I don't know what that's all about, but maybe she can't handle a lot of stuff at one time and it's overwhelming her. I don't know. Could be.
Good point.
But yeah, it totally could be that maybe she's overwhelmed, or maybe she's lacking direction, or it could be a lot of things. It does also seem, and I do get the impression, I obviously could be wrong, but I give the impression that this guy is trying to open a communication with her and she's not necessarily receptive to it. So that could also be something too, that maybe she's not a good communicator. She needs to work on that a little bit, or just try to be a little more introspective and say, hey, if something's bugging me, I need to recognize what it is and then tell him so that he knows what's going on. Because if you're keeping stuff like that too bottled up and bugging you without sharing it, especially with somebody you're in a relationship with, it's just going to erode the whole thing. You might as well just set fire to it now. It's not going to last. That's another part of it too, is how committed is she to the relationship, and what work is she willing to put in to make it succeed. And it may be that she has to go talk to somebody. It may be that she has to work on communicating or recognizing emotion, or sometimes it's just saying, you know what, I'm just not feeling it today, and just being open about that. You have to take a step somewhere. She can't rely on him to do everything.
Maybe she's unaware of what she's feeling too, because I know for me personally, it took me a while to kind of even figure out what I felt. Kind of taught to like shove down your feelings. Don't show them to people because they're gonna get mad at you, or they're not gonna like how you feel. So just shove it down, try to ignore it. And then I would just get kind of numb to it. So I wouldn't be able to figure out what exactly I was feeling. That could be part of the issue too. You never know. She does sound young, so maybe she just hasn't matured in that way yet either. Sounds like at least he's trying to get through to her and talk to her about it, not just avoid this situation, which is good. Am I the a-hole for refusing to open and show my backpack to the cashiers at the supermarket? I went to a supermarket coming from the gym to buy some things I needed. And when I get to pay, I saw the checkout girl asking everyone to check their personal bags to verify that nothing had been stolen. That's a new one. My turn to pay came, and I refused to open it because I thought it was an invasion of privacy. The cashier called the supervisor and her boss, and even threatened to call the police for me not doing it, since it's, quote, supermarket policy. I ended up opening my backpack because I didn't have time to wait for the police, and I really needed the things I went to buy. Although I was calm and respectful when explaining why, by the look on everyone's face who was working there and in line to pay, I'm the asshole, but I simply don't think it's reasonable to check everyone's personal bags and backpacks. The supermarket in question is called Lidl, and apparently in France, everyone has gotten used to showing their personal bags and backpacks. Am I overreacting and being the asshole, or am I right in wanting to preserve my privacy? Well, in the United States of America, you don't have to do that. So I don't think so. I think asking for, like, if there's reason, like if you see someone acting sketchy or something, then yeah, but I don't think it's necessary to show some, like, especially when you have your gym bag full of your gym stuff that you just sweated in or whatever, like you don't want to show that to somebody. I don't know. I don't think they're an a-hole at all for not doing that. There's no reason to check everybody's bag. And maybe that's something they do in France, but over here, we don't need to do that kind of thing. You do have rights here. That's just my humble opinion.
This is kind of an odd one because it could go either way. I've been in a situation where, I guess a little bit of background information for me. I ride motorcycles a lot, and I would go to stores with a backpack on pretty regularly, just because that's the only way to carry anything. And I have been in stores before where as soon as I walked in the store, the security guy was like, hey, you can't walk around with your backpack. You got to leave it up at the front or whatever. And I complied. I told him, if you're going to watch over it and make sure that no one steals my backpack, then, it's kind of whatever for me. It was usually only in stores where it was kind of a sketch area, where they had a security guard at the door for a reason. That wasn't too bad. I never got asked to open it up and show everything inside of it or anything like that. I do think that's too much. If they really suspect you of stealing, that's one thing. But to be honest, I probably would have done the same thing. I probably would have just shown them, because I don't have the time to sit there and argue with people over it. But I would also never go back to that store. I thoroughly believe in voting with your wallet, and that's how I would approach that. Take it as a lesson learned that you went there one time and they did that, and I would never go back, just because if that's how they want to do business and they force people to open up their stuff all the time. That's just kind of weird. I don't know, that's too far to me. I understand that they want to prevent theft, but at what cost, right? It's uncomfortable for people to open up their stuff.
Yeah, it seems like an overreach. I mean, it's different if you're going to like a sporting event. You know, usually they check your bags at the stadiums, but you're aware that's going to happen.
And that's really a safety thing for people bringing weapons in.
Yeah.
You know, it's not because they think that you're smuggling things or something.
Yeah.
And I understand that. You know, as weird as that is too, if I'm going to a sporting event or something like that, I just don't bring a backpack or anything with me because I don't want to deal with it. And I don't bring anything that needs to be brought in a bag anyway. But it's, you know, it's like that in some concerts and stuff too, where they'll like check your bag and make sure that you're not bringing in who knows what illegal paraphernalia and stuff, which is what it is. This is just one of those things that's like, it's just too much for a supermarket.
Right. Yeah, the grocery store. It does ring odd. I mean, obviously I'm not from France, so that's another thing. But yeah, it seems like overkill. Like, but yeah, I'm kind of a comply person, but I agree with you, Tony. Maybe I would not go back to that grocery store. I think I probably would make arrangements either to only go in for a few things with a bag that's small enough that they won't look in, or have my food delivered. I think that's probably a pretty good option nowadays too, because yeah, who wants to deal with that? Yeah, you forget and you're bringing home who knows what. I mean, there are lots of things that could be like really embarrassing. Medication, you know, you just came from a Snoop Dogg concert. I don't know. I mean, I'm just kidding.
One thing that I also want to bring up about this before we move on is that it was the cashier that's bringing this up to everybody.
Yeah.
Meaning you're in line and you're paying for stuff. If I'm going to steal from a store, I'm not going to pay for some things and steal other things. It's all or nothing. I would be walking out that store like they didn't have what I wanted, with my pockets full of candy bars or something, right? Like, are they checking everybody that leaves? Doesn't sound like it. It sounds like they're just doing it at the cash register, which doesn't really make any sense to me.
Yeah, not really. Or you could have a ham down your pants. You never know.
Oh yeah,
a flank steak.
Yeah, I've been in the store where they shoved like steaks down their pants. Rack of ribs one time, I think.
That's gotta be real cold. That's all
I
I'm
can't
saying.
imagine that would be comfortable, and you'd be like you'd waddle out of there, right? Like you. It would be very telling.
It'd be pretty obvious.
But this is France. I mean, maybe they're stealing like truffle oil or something. And it's like $70 for like the little 10-ounce thing or whatever. I don't know. I'm making up stuff,
but they're buying something else to because they feel a little bit bad about stealing. It makes sense.
But that truffle oil, man, it's gonna make the whole meal, you know.
That's right.
It is delicious.
She's looking through all of their items and she's like, you have everything you need to make this one dish except the truffle oil. I'm going to need to see your purse, man. I bet I know what's in there.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You know, it would go really well with this meal, a bottle of red wine. I bet it's in your bag, sir. Open that up because you're not buying it. And I know you don't have any left at home because it's delicious. You're going to drink that.
Really.
Am I the a-hole for refusing to drive my family, even though I don't drink alcohol? I, 25F, never drink alcohol, and therefore I'm always the designated driver for my family, with whom I still live. Birthday party until late in the night. I can't leave when I clearly state to my family I'm tired, since we took only one car because they would drink. Migraine during family outing, well, someone has to drive, and migraine is not illegal while driving. It should be. It should totally be legal. Parents going out with friends, I drive them to when they go and drive them back when they call me. They don't even ask if I'm okay with that. So at the end of our last outing, I warned them that next time I would drive only to the event or back from it, but not both. Yesterday, we were going to the restaurant for my cousin's 18th birthday after a quick drink with aunt, uncle, and cousins at our house. I reminded them what I said last time and then let them choose if one of them would drive back or forth. My stepfather, 49 male, yelled at me that I knew they would drink at the restaurant and that I was selfish to impose one of them not to drink in order to drive. He then decided to stay at home after my mom, 59F, gave in to my whim, quote unquote. Oh dear. Of course, the mood of the evening was a bit down after that, and my stepfather didn't say a word to me since. So, AITA. I mean, these people are mature adults who maybe have a problem with alcohol, I'm wondering.
But I was gonna say, it sounds like an alcoholic family.
Not good.
They don't even want to give up a drink to drive. Like, have a rotation,
Yeah,
right?
that's not really making your 25-year-old the keeper of two very mature adults. I mean, they're almost 60, they can handle themselves.
Get an Uber.
But I was thinking too, like, make a child be your parent essentially. Like, if it was a friend, it would be one thing, but this is like their kid. I don't think it's a great dynamic. And
And it just seems weird that it's like they have to drink when they're going somewhere. And it's like not an option for one of them to abstain, or maybe just have like one drink when they get there and then not have another one so that they are good when they drive home. I think all of us have been out drinking at some point, and you figure it out. Like, it's not difficult to say, hey, I'm going to be driving, so I better not drink, or I'm going to cut myself off, or we're going to have to get a cab or an Uber because no one's going to drive tonight or something. But just assuming that someone's going to drive you there and back whenever you call them when you're done, or what? Come on, that's not reasonable. They're taking advantage of her, obviously. And, sounds like she is very gingerly pushing back, which kind of makes me feel like her family is overbearing too. And they probably take advantage of her in other ways. But good for her for trying to stand up. They're going to try to make you feel bad, and they're going to try to gaslight you into thinking that it's all your fault and you're being unreasonable. But don't take that crap. That's dangerous. And it really does. It sounds like addict behavior, because they immediately get upset with her first and say that it's her whim. That's not what this is. It's not what's going on here.
Yeah, it sounds like someone that has an issue with their alcohol being taken away, and they react in a childish manner like an addict or alcoholic would do. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like they use their daughter as a chauffeur, and probably in other ways too. When there's something they don't want to do, they just make her do it. And I think it's interesting that she doesn't drink. She's 25, she could, but she probably sees them and their issues with drinking and probably doesn't want to end up like them either. If I was her, I'd move out. I'd be like, you guys are on your own.
Good point. Especially if they're going to take advantage of her like that, she's probably going to be better off moving out on her own. Sounds like she's pretty responsible. Family's jacked up.
Just a little bit, yeah. That nuclear reaction. I'm not going then if you're not gonna let me drink. Like, what the heck?
Yeah, they just sound very inconsiderate of her. Like, if she wants to leave, or even if she has a headache, they don't have any kind of sympathy. They're like, nope, you're gonna do what we want you to do.
And you can have fun and not drink when you're out. So there.
Am I the a-hole for wanting to invite my girlfriend on a vacation? So I'm 30. My husband is 32. We had discussed a family vacation to San Francisco at the end of this summer when he could finally get away from work. I have 2 children who are 9 and 12 from a previous marriage, but he has been the best stepfather you could ever ask for. You count your blessings, lady. That's amazing. Our 12-year-old will be at a week-long summer camp for kids her age, so we thought about taking the 9-year-old on vacation with us. I asked one of my very close friends if she wanted to come, and she said definitely. My husband is not a fan of her because of her lifestyle. She's single and loves to party and get wild. When I brought this up to my husband, he asked me if I was thinking about this or if I'd already talked to my friend and invited her. I told him I had already talked to her and invited her. He said he felt hurt that I was just making unilateral decisions without him, and that he felt this was going to be sort of a family vacation, and that by inviting her was going to change the entire vibe of the vacation, and that he and our 9-year-old would end up definitely feeling like a girls' trip. I told him my friend understood the kind of trip it would be, and he said that if I really wanted her to come, he would understand and rather just sit it out and allow me, my daughter, and my friend to go instead, I guess just all together without him, because he felt he wouldn't have a good time. I told him if that was how he was going to act, he was being a child. And he responded that making executive decisions for things that involve the whole family without involving him made me an asshole. Am I the asshole? Ooh. Let's unpack this one, okay? I'm going to scroll back to the beginning here. First of all, this woman is 30 and is married. She has a husband. If you're going to go on a trip with your husband and you're going to invite someone else, you ask your husband first. If you're married, your first loyalty should be to your spouse. Whether you have a really good friend or whatever it is, this may be harsh, but that's an asshole thing to do, to just invite somebody. She admits that she knows her husband's not a fan of this lady. She did it anyway. Should have had that conversation. That's just not cool to anybody. I think that honestly, he handled it pretty well by saying, hey, if you guys really want to do this, I know how it's going to end. He's probably been in this situation before where that's probably why he doesn't really like this other lady. You know, he's probably going to end up hanging out with the 9-year-old, and while they go off and drink or party or whatever, he's not a fan. So he just said, I'll just sit it out if you guys are going to do that, which is a little passive aggressive too. Not necessarily the most helpful thing, but she also really puts him in a difficult spot by just inviting somebody that he's not going to be wanting to spend time with anyway. So this one's different, but I think that she really misstepped here. She should have brought it up with her husband before inviting anybody. You know, and if he's cool with it, then fine. If he says, we're going to change things if you really want this other girl to come so that it's going to be fun for everybody, then at least they're compromising. You don't just show up and say, this is the trip and you're going to go on it. They're married, so he's paying for part of it, I'm sure. I'm assuming that being married, they both work and they both contribute. So they're going to be using their money to go on this vacation, and if he's not going to have any fun, I totally understand him not even wanting to go. I've been in that situation before where you're just with this like group of people that are just not people you really like to hang out with, and it's just not fun. You know, you're just sitting there existing in the same place that they're existing. He'd probably have more fun sitting at home and hanging out or doing whatever he wants to do by himself. That's a pretty jacked up thing to do to your husband.
I agree. And I think if it was her turn and he had a friend she didn't like, she probably wouldn't like him just inviting a friend without talking to her about it. And she even said that it was a family vacation. She's turning it not into a family vacation and not even asking him what he wants to do. And then there's a part when she says he can finally get away from work. So it's like he's working a lot. It's not common for him to be able to take time off, and you're going to ruin his vacation. It just seems kind of inconsiderate to do that.
Right. Yeah. I don't know if I'd assign a whole behavior to it necessarily, but it is very thoughtless. You know, he doesn't like her. That's not a relaxing vacation if you have to hang out with people you don't like.
And if she's just going to go party and get crazy and whatever, like, he's going to end up watching the kid or something, and they're going to go out like single people. I mean, I can understand that. He doesn't sound like belligerent about it or anything, like crazy jealous or something, but he sounds reasonable. Like, you're married, you have kids. Why are you going to go out like a single woman and act crazy and get drunk or whatever?
And family vacation.
Yeah, on your family vacation. Yeah, exactly.
I didn't know we were bringing friends to this shindig.
Okay, our next one says, am I the a-hole for not punishing my 7-year-old daughter for her play relationships? I'm intrigued. Let's see where this goes. My husband and I have a 7-year-old daughter together, Layla. Interesting. Eric Clapton, all right. A few months ago, Layla got a quote unquote boyfriend, Lucas. They're both 7, so it's obviously not a real relationship. They just hold hands sometimes and they drew each other hearts for Valentine's Day. Oh, that sounds adorable. This week, Layla was apparently holding hands with another boy who also sent Layla a Valentine's Day love letter. Oh, and Lucas took offense to it. We found out because Lucas's parents called to tell us Lucas won't be coming over to us this Saturday like it was originally planned because he is mad at Layla. That little cheater. My husband wants us to punish Layla and wants me to have a talk with her about faithfulness. At first, I thought he was joking, but no, he was serious. He says that Layla cheated on Lucas and I, as her mother, should do something about it. I told my husband that Layla is 7, not a cheater, and I won't treat her as such. He then accused me of raising a cheater and encouraging the bad behavior. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to punish Layla? Sounds like there's some deeper things happening here than just this situation. Like his reaction is so strong to this. He must have been cheated on before.
Oh man,
That would be my assumption here.
sure sounds like it. And it's a
Yeah.
good thing I was muted while you're reading that because I was laughing intensely.
That was an interesting one. Yeah.
You're raising a cheater. Oh my god.
She's 7. She doesn't understand what any of that even is.
No.
Yeah, that's
She's probably
definitely
like, this boy gave me a zebra cake out of his lunch, so he's my new boyfriend, right?
right.
That's how you do it when you're 7.
Yeah, you're still learning all those relationship norms and etiquettes and things like that. She's not going to know that yet. I mean, obviously, it sounds like he has some baggage there that he needs to work through. And his reaction was a bit strong, and he's taking it out on his wife, who it doesn't sound like unless she's the one that cheated on him, maybe. Could have been somebody else.
I think the little boy's parents were funny too, because they called and said he's not going to come over because he's mad at her for holding hands with another boy.
At 7 years old.
Like,
Yeah.
you guys are taking this stuff way too seriously. Your kids are 7. Calm down.
They should have a talk with him too and just tell him.
It's not like they're betrothed or something. It doesn't say anything about exchanging goats or anything like that. So
Yeah, no goats were exchanged in this
no.
this interaction. Oh dear. I can't imagine. That sounds like the boyfriend girlfriend thing like went too far. You know what I mean? Like they are 7. I don't think I would have pushed it. So I probably would have been like, oh, your boyfriend. Yeah, haha, move on kind of a thing. Like not played along so much. Cause I think that's probably part of the problem in this initially. Cause yeah, they, she's not a cheater. They just, kids play with different kids. It happens, whatever. Maybe time for a dose of reality for all the adults to not play this up. You don't have a boyfriend until you're older.
Well, and demanding that you punish your daughter for this is not a punishment thing. This is, you could have a conversation with your daughter and say, hey, if you really like this little boy and you think he's cute, it's whatever, but you're not really boyfriend and girlfriend. That's a totally different thing. And maybe a good opportunity to explain to your daughter what dating really looks like and what it should be. Yeah, it's not, it's supposed to be to find somebody that you're potentially going to get married to. And at 7, you're pretty far removed from that. So if you like a boy and you want to give him a Valentine, then sure, but don't take it so seriously. And neither should he. Maybe his parents needed to have that conversation with him. Like, hey, you're 7. She's holding hands with another boy. Calm down a little bit. You're not married. You're not going to be married. It is what it is and isn't what it isn't.
Right. And Layla's not a cheater.
Yeah, I hope to God that he didn't say that to his daughter, because talk about traumatizing your kid from a young age.
Yeah.
Because that's, we joke about it, but to a 7-year-old, calling her a cheater too, that's gonna be something that could be emotionally scarring for her. It really could, because that's a pretty harsh word, especially to a kid who probably at this point knows like cheating on the test or whatever is bad, and then calling her a cheater when it comes to that and shaming her is just not, that's not okay.
Yeah.
So I hope he didn't say that to her, but sounds like the mom's got her head on straight that it's just a little kid thing. And it is ridiculous. I would have thought he was joking at first too, asking her to do something about it, to talk to her daughter about faithfulness when she's 7. Well, that's all for now. If you have a story to share or want to tell us that we're completely off base, you can always email sincerelytactlesspod@gmail.com, tweet us at sinceretactless, or you can even leave us a voice message at anchor.fm/sincerelytactless. Thanks for riding with us on this crazy train and not losing your biryani. Until next time, stay Hebe, Bangladesh.